three socialists walk into a bar and the barman says, "Sorry, children aren't allowed in here." Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultanabran have launched a new political party called Your Party. That's an interim title apparently. We're going to get to vote on a name which, knowing British people who voted to name an Arctic exploration vessel Boaty McBoatface, will end up with this party being called Jezbollah, or possibly Fruit and Nut, given that it's helmed by a Marxist and a woman called Sultana.
I only do this party for you. I only do this party for you, for you, for you. I was hoping you would.
If anyone thinks Corbyn doesn't have the determination to see this through, let me assure you, this is a man who pumped Diane Abbott on a camping holiday in the south of France. Imagine being in that sweaty tent, the smells and the grunting, and he persevered and continued all the way to climax. This is a man with iron will. They've released a statement, a kind of mini manifesto, just in time for 16-year-olds to get the vote, because they're the only people who think that communism sounds like a good idea. This party is going to cause ructions. Let's have a look at their statement. It's time for a new kind of political party, one that belongs to you. The system is rigged. The system is rigged when 4.5 million children live in poverty in the 6th richest country in the world. But their measure of poverty is relative, not absolute. It's defined as earning less than 60% of the UK median income, which is £37,430. Quite a lot of money. I mean, technically, I grew up in poverty, but the poverty that children live in a capitalist country is opulence compared to the poverty that children live in socialist countries such as the Soviet Union, where tens of millions of people starve to death. Although the people who'll vote for Corbyn and Sultana are so posh they won't call it starving, they'll call it fasting. The system is rigged when giant corporations make a fortune from rising bills. Giant corporations make a fortune from rising bills. Well, it sounds like we need to deregulate the market and open it up to competition so that other companies can come in and undercut these unfairly inflated prices and reduce costs for customers. The system is rigged when this government says there is no money for the poor but billions for war. No money for the poor but billions for war. Well, what's to stop the poor people from going to war and becoming billionaires then? Also, what's the war that Britain is funding right now? It's Ukraine, where a nationalistic, traditionalist, white European country is defending itself from the totalitarian neo-Soviet Russia. Why do Corbyn and Sultana want to stop that and stop Ukraine being able to defend itself? And as for poor people living under austerity, our benefit system is so generous, people are getting pretty much brand new cars for just being afraid of spiders or having some anxiety. And that wanky band Kneecap got nearly £2 million of British government money to make a film about how much they hate the British government. We cannot accept these injustices, and neither should you. We will only fix the crises in our society with a mass redistribution of wealth and power. They want to share the wealth. Well, not their wealth. Even though Corbyn dresses like he's drinking sherry in a skip, he's actually a millionaire. No, they want to share other people's wealth. For some reason, this mantra of sharing the wealth is seen as virtuous. I'm not sure how you can look virtuous by demanding that the state forcibly takes from other people to pay for the things that you want, but that's the world we live in. If someone's rich, it generally means that they're good at allocating capital to get a return. They identify the businesses that are going to succeed and invest in them, generating the wealth, creating the jobs, providing the products that people need. Ooh, but trickle down doesn't work. Yeah, because it's not trickling down. It's literally being created in people's pockets. Most wealth creators like Elon Musk only get to keep a tiny portion, about 2% of the wealth that they generate. As an example, Jeff Bezos is worth $200 billion, but Amazon has created trillions of dollars in value for consumers through cheaper goods and time saved, and for employees through wages and benefits, for third-party sellers, millions of small businesses, for suppliers and logistics firms and AWS clients, and for the government through billions in taxes. Jeff Bezos does far more good and helps far more people with his allocation of capital than any government could ever hope to do. Why would you want to take away Jeff Bezos' capital and hand it to people like Jeremy Corbyn, who won't just waste it, they'll actively use it for evil, spreading communist propaganda and destroying nations? That means taxing the very richest in our society. Taxing the very richest will mean that they leave. Why would anyone stay in Britain to pay money to people who literally hate them and will spend that money importing aliens to destroy the nation state? And why would anyone who remains in Britain work hard to make money if it's just going to be taken off them? The government brings in a tax on sugar to reduce sugar consumption. They tax cigarettes to stop people smoking so much. What do they think increasing income tax is going to do? That means an NHS free of privatisation, an NHS free from privatisation, so no private companies will be involved in the NHS. The NHS is now going to manufacture its own ambulances instead of buying them from private companies that have specialised in vehicle production and modification? Do you think it's a good use of resources for the NHS to plough billions into research and development in the hope that they can develop better engines and chassis than Mercedes and Ford can? You think this is going to save money? And bringing energy, water, rail and mail into public ownership? Okay, I actually agree with this bit. It's silly for these things to be privatised because they're basically nationalised anyway. If the private companies collapse, then the state has to step in. The benefits of the free market don't really apply to train lines, and if you want to change water supplier, then you have to move house, which isn't really a free market. That means investing in a massive council house building programme. That means standing up to fossil fuel giants, putting their profits before our planet. Fossil fuel giants also provide the energy that has given the masses a modern, luxurious way of life. If you tax them out of existence, you won't save the planet because it's not going to affect what China does, but you will condemn millions to suffering and death. As for building council houses, I wonder who they'll go to. Man, left-wing parties always present their free stuff. It isn't free, by the way, it's paid for by us and ends up costing a lot more because of corruption and incompetence, as some kind of kind beneficence. But in reality, they're getting everyone dependent on the state, so the state has total power over people. Meanwhile, millions of people are horrified by the government's shameful complicity in genocide. We believe in the radical idea that all human life has equal value. Oh, they must be talking about the genocide of Christians and Druze in Syria. That is why we defend the right to protest for Palestine. That is why we demand an end to all arms sales to Israel. And that is why we will carry on campaigning for the only path to peace, a free and independent Palestine. Anyone remember when British politics was about British issues? We're told that immigrants come to the UK and when they come they're just as British as you or me and they integrate and become imbued with British values, but in reality they bring their tribal conflicts and allegiances with them. Why is this new party silent on worse human rights abuses in Sudan and Yemen and Syria? What is it about the only Jewish state that they don't like? Man, just call it the I Hate Jews party and be done with it. Socialists always ally with Islamists, by the way, against the evils of Western capitalism. Look at Iran in 1979 when the socialists helped the Islamists overthrow the West-leaning Shah of Iran. Then once they'd won, the socialists were like, well, can we have our vegan poetry cafes now? And the Islamists were like, no, we're going to put you all in jail and execute you. You'd think socialists would read some history books and be a bit smarter about who they form allegiances with. But if socialists could read history books and were smart, they wouldn't be socialists. Our movement is made up of people of all faiths and none. Yeah, but it's mostly Muslims and communists, isn't it? There might be a few confused old women who like Jeremy Corbyn's allotment stuff, but mostly it's Muslims and communists. Ironically, Labour opened the borders and imported millions of Muslims because they tend to vote left-wing. Under Corbyn, 85% of British Muslims voted Labour, but now it's backfired as they've all stopped voting Labour and are instead voting for independent Muslim MPs who campaign on issues they care about, such as Gaza and the right to bang your own cousin. It'll be a miracle if Labour MPs like Jess Phillips and Wes Streeting actually manage to hold on to their seats at the next election. The great dividers want you to think that the problems in our society are caused by migrants or refugees. They're not. They're caused by an economic system that protects the interests of corporations and billionaires. Yeah, but some issues are caused by people who aren't native to Britain. I mean, how about we forcefully remove everyone of non-Western origin and then see if there are still Pakistani Muslim child rape gangs? And corporations love mass immigration because it gives them cheap labour and more customers. It is ordinary people who create the wealth, and it is ordinary people who have the power to put it back where it belongs. None of the people voting for this party are ordinary. It's time for a new kind of political party, one that is rooted in our communities, trade unions and social movements, one that builds power in all regions and nations, one that belongs to you. Builds power in all nations? What about building power in Britain? Sign up at www.yourparty.uk to be part of the founding process, leading to an inaugural conference. At this conference, you will decide the party's direction, the model of leadership, and the policies that are needed to transform society. That is how we can build a democratic movement that can take on the rich and powerful and win. Man, how much do these people hate the rich and powerful? The envy and the hatred is dripping from them. They hate hard work, wealth creation, investment, success, a 140-kilogram squat, having sex with supermodels, nice cars, happiness, any of that. Socialists always want to seize the means of production. Why don't they try to build the means of production instead? Spend money developing a product that people want, then get a loan from the bank, build a factory and hire people to manufacture it, then hey presto, you've built the means of production instead of stealing it. But also, you're a capitalist. Real change is is coming. Well, real change is coming for the left. This party is projected to get about 10 to 12% of the vote. It'll cannibalise the Labour and Green Party vote and make reforms lead even stronger. So sign up, it's free, and you can influence the policy. It'll be loads of fun, but it's a sign of where the country is heading. The socialists have completed their long march through the institutions and are now indoctrinating a generation of communists. If you want to save Britain, rich and successful people need to fund and arrange their own takeover of the institutions. Get some capitalists and Western patriots running things from the inside. Stop taking it for granted that Britain will always be a free country. Also sign up to my Patreon from as little as £3 a month to support me making these videos and get exclusive content like a Patreon only interview with Simon Evans that's on there right now. And please like and subscribe and share this video with any socialists you know. Okay, thanks for listening. I've been Leo Kears. Bye. Bye bye.